In today's video, we're going to be talking about exactly how you can create winning long-form native ad copy that allows you to scale your dropshipping brand to 5, 10, even 20K a day. This is the exact strategy I've now used to scale 3 different brands to multiple 4 figures a day, including this brand to right over $500,000 in sales in the last 60 to 90 days, taking home 25% profit margins using nothing but native image ads. I'm going to be walking you through the exact structure and format that I like to follow. I'm going to be creating some brand new long form copy for a mock-up product, showing you how I read it, dissect it, understand it, and cover the deep research prompting that you need to make the best long form copy to compete in any niche. And just so we're on the same page, native image ads are one of the most powerful ways to scale a brand in 2026, no matter the niche. I've sold in different niches, different brands, different products. And the cool thing about it is that you can create these really realistic looking native posts on Facebook that gets a ton of engagement, likes, feedback, and scale your brand with little to no competition, all without having to rip videos from Calidata, copy your competitors' ads, deal with so much ad fatigue that you can't keep up, and waste a ton of time and money trying to create these AI UGC video ads that aren't really converting at the scale that you would like them to. So I have a mock product here, which is collagen for your gums and teeth to help repair your enamel. We're going to be going through how to create good copy for a product like this. This will be our example product. And this is a random competitor's website that I found that's doing really well and scaling right now. So I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to replicate this for whatever product you want to drop ship. I'll also link you this exact document here, which is basically my copywriting playbook that I put together after spending hours and weeks and days and months putting together and testing so many different variations of long form copy. Let's actually just dive in by going over what makes good native image ad long copy. Naturally speaking, I like to have my long form copy be between 1,400 to 1,700 words, and it has to follow this structure. And the structure doesn't always have to be in the same order that you see on this document, but as long as these main components are in there, I'm good to go. So the first thing is very important, which is a strong hook. So for those of you that are currently running the native image ad strategy and you're struggling with high CPMs, high CPCs, where the cost per click is just super expensive, maybe even a low CTR, there's a couple different variables that could be playing a role in that. It could be the product you selected, the website you have, the image you selected. But one of the easiest things you can quickly adjust and test to see if it impacts your metrics in a good way is your hook. So when we create long form copy, we're using storytelling, the fundamentals and the core principles of marketing, which is storytelling. People don't buy products, they buy from other people and other stories. That's why UGC video ads do really good, because other people are sharing their stories, their experiences, and people like to relate to other people. We're basically doing that, but with long copy. So the first thing to making really good, strong, scalable copy is a strong hook. Picking a good hook is important, and paired with a good image, this will help stop the scroll. But more importantly, a good hook should spark curiosity. So we'll be talking about that in just a moment. Another thing that's important is authority anchoring. There should be some kind of outside or third-party authority confirming the validity of your product or the problem. This doesn't always have to be a doctor, dentist, or professional. It can just be a report, article, another family member. So when we create these long-form stories told in the first person, as if someone's just sharing a natural story on Facebook, we want to reaffirm their discovery by bringing up some type of realistic looking article. Obviously, this doesn't have to be in the image that you use, but just throughout the story itself, there needs to be some mention of an article, a report, and it helps to have a legit, real report in your long form copy that your AI tool could write for you, do the research and pull in for you. And then also, doctors, dentists, professionals, all that type of stuff also helps as well. But the most important thing is that whatever belief or conclusion your storyteller is coming up with, we want to reaffirm that with some type of outside perspective. Hero placing, this is super important. This is where a lot of people struggle. They'll see good ad metrics, good CPM, CPC, CTR, but they'll still struggle with getting good conversions. It's because throughout the story, you spend a lot of time really building up the story, walking the potential customer through the pain, but they don't do a good enough job actually leveraging your product and placing it in the story that's conducive of getting a sale. Meaning you have a certain process with your story, and in that process, we want to explain how we bridge the gap with your product as the main hero. So hero placing is how we introduce your product. This should not feel forced or feel salesy, right? People can tell a sale is coming from a mile away. So it should feel natural, it should blend into the story, and it should feel like an epiphany that the person in your story that's telling the story just came across and almost stumbled across this product out of nowhere. It was recommended to them, or they found it while they were just scrolling through some articles late at night. And boom, this product just appeared in front of them. Now, this product has completely changed their life forever. And the reader should feel like they're being let in on a hidden secret, right? So that's the cool thing about it. If you think about Facebook, they are pushing advertisers more and more every day to create ads that feel natural to the feed, right? If an ad sticks out and looks like an ad from a mile away, it's probably not going to perform the best. But the way Facebook rewards its advertisers with lower CPMs is by having ads that look and feel native. And one of the great characteristics of a good native ad is the storytelling element paired with a hidden secret. Like, hey, I just came across this and it just completely changed my life. Not a lot of people know about this. This is, people like being let in on a secret. So that's where hero placement can be really, really important for your story. And a lot of people also struggle with something called the USP, your unique selling proposition. What specific feature or function makes your product different from what your customer may have tried in the past? Why is this specific one important to have versus others out there? So what am I referring to? Well, we don't want to just sell a product. We want to sell an experience, and we want to build and bridge that gap between where the customer is now, where their dream life can be. But in doing that, there tends to come questions, right? People, as they're reading the story, going through it and being introduced to your product, immediate questions and objections may come about. And one of the important things that we need to do is that we don't want our customers going on other marketplaces like Amazon or trying to look for other competitors in the market that are selling the same products, especially if you're someone that sells in these super competitive niches, supplements, weight loss equipment, like ab rollers, treadmills, Pilates boards, anything with skincare, hair care, cosmetics, makeup, anti-aging, wrinkles, any type of pain aid for elderly people like knee braces, back braces, massagers, anything to help the elderly get in and out with mobility. Any of those really competitive high CPM products, there's going to be a ton of competition in the market. Your ads are probably going to be grouped up with similar advertisers. That means your customers, your potential customers, are seeing the same type of products and ads. So there needs to be something unique about your product that you can highlight and say, hey, this specific feature about this product is what makes this better than anything else. And we don't want to hard sell features. We want to hard sell emotion and experience. But throughout the store, we do need to have some type of element. For example, these blue light glasses, right? There's probably other advertisers out there selling blue light glasses. How can I stand out? Well, I can say that my blue light glasses are made with a certain material that don't get damaged or don't, break easily. Or, maybe that's not really conducive. Maybe we can say the type of blue light glasses we have actually blocks out 99% of blue light, while other companies out there only block out 75% of blue light. Ours block out 99 because we use a certain special tinted material that does a better job of blocking out more of the blue light. Right? So the feature and the USP needs to be important to what actually helps the person overcome the problem that you're selling with your product. It shouldn't just be, actually, the first example I just gave you with the quality being better, that's actually irrelevant to what the product actually does. So make sure your USP is something that actually solves the problem. Objection handling. You have to destroy at least 1 to 2 big objections that customers may have, something that would stop them from scrolling or make them want to find another solution. So an example of this, right, is, if I want to buy these blue light glasses, do I know for sure that they will, look nice, or will they fit on my ears, or will they hurt my ears, right? Like if I put them on, I don't like wearing glasses, because it hurts my ears if they sit on my ears too long, or the bridge of my nose. So you can handle that objection if that is a common objection your customers may have, which we'll talk about in a moment here, how you can get the answers to all these questions and then write really good copy from this. But if that is a common objection, is the look or the feel, you want to make sure you address that somewhere throughout the copy. And sometimes addressing one of these concerns is as simple as a 1 to 2 sentence, just simply saying, yeah, and while I wore it for a week or two, it didn't feel uncomfortable. Sometimes that's enough for the average reader going through on Facebook to be like, okay, good enough for me. So you don't have to overthink that part. Logical conclusion. At this part of the story, we need to recap and position our product / process as the only logical conclusion. So we want to basically to do this, we want to bring up the emotions. We want to bring back up the emotions that the customer is feeling right now. They're getting, barely any sleep at night. They're struggling with their eyes. Their eyes feel very tired and sore in the morning. And a lot of it's because they spend so much time in front of the computer and the blue light screen is hurting their sleep. So we really want to make them relive those emotions as they're getting to the end of the story, especially since it's 1400 to 1700 words. That's a lot of copy to read, but because it's a good engaging storytelling approach, people will get lost into the reading and they don't even notice how long it can be at times. And then soft CTA, soft call to action. To end your long form copy, it should feel like you're suggesting the product, or the person looking into it is finding, that this is a suggestion, right? They should not feel forced. You shouldn't be like, hey, buy this product now. I mean, sometimes it can, when you're testing, you can definitely say, and I got this product on this website, they're the best, blah, 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 blah. I've seen people test that and have success with that. But naturally speaking, especially in the beginning stages of testing, I like a soft CTA where it's almost like, now that I know this, I'm happy to share with all you guys. Hopefully you make the right decision in improving your eyesight and not sticking with not using blue light. So if that's something you're more interested in, definitely look more into it. Or you can even tell them, click the link down below. I like to start off with no like hard CTA where it's like click the link. The learn more or shop now button will be there. People will see that it's an ad and they will click and get to the next page if need be. And sometimes it's also good to not have the strong call to action because people will comment and say, where can I get it? And that's where you can also pin your website in the comment. You can reply and say, hey, I actually got this. I found that the website that this person was talking about was on this store, and pin the website to your store in the comment section, which gets more people engaging, liking, and actually boosts your ad out more and lowers your cost per CPM. So a little fun fact for you there. So everything that I just highlighted is actually broken down in one of my best performing long form copy for a brand that I was running, which was a U-shaped toothbrush. This is actually the #1 highest converting long form copy in that ad account. I was doing 5K a day with it. So you can feel free to grab this document and read through this yourself. I highlighted every portion of what I was referring to here. So you can see at what point in the story am I referring to the strong hook, the authority, the hero placing, etc., etc. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through my deep research prompts and I'm going to start pulling up a ton of data. To write really good copy, it actually starts with deep research. If you want to get access to the same deep research prompts I'm going to use in this video, and also these are the same prompts that I used to scale my business to $500,000 in less than 90 days, feel free to hop inside my school community, go under the classroom tab, and then under the Facebook ad section, which is step 6, you'll see all the information you need about creating deep research prompts. This also goes for the long form copywriting prompts as well to create the long form stories. These are the same resources Liam used to hit his first 1K day after 2 days with a new product. Shout out to him, with an insane conversion rate at almost 5%. So there's 4 very important pieces of information I need to know before I can start doing my long form copy. And I'm going to need to use a deep research tool. You have 2 options here, either Google Gemini Pro with their deep research function, or you can use Claude, which has gotten a lot better at deep research. It's actually kind of scary. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to just use Claude, because Claude is also the same tool we're going to be using to write our long form copy as well. So it makes sense to just keep it all in one place for this video. So I'll create a new project so all my information gets stored in the same database. So I don't have to keep researching or re-looking up the information. It'll be all stored under the same project and same files. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Sonnet 4.5 extended for the deep research capability. And I'm going to start to establish the market awareness level. So while this starts to do its deep research, I'm going to just literally copy and paste my prompt in. It's the first prompt, which is the awareness level. I need to understand, and when we talk about awareness levels, we need to understand what is the awareness level of the general market for this product. So awareness levels basically just help us understand how we can speak to our target audience based off the knowledge they generally have about this product. So the unaware market is going to be the people that are literally not even aware of the desire or the need to solve the problem, or they honestly won't just admit. So basically these people have no clue that they really have a problem. They have a problem, but they aren't even fully aware of it yet. Then there's problem aware. They know they have a problem to solve, but aren't aware of any specific solutions. There's solution aware. They know there is a solution to their problem, but they don't know of any specific products to solve it. There's product aware, which is they know your product exists, but aren't completely aware of it all or how it works. And then most aware, where these people basically know of your product and what it does, but haven't gotten around to purchasing it. Where a lot of beginner dropshippers will make most of their money is in problem and solution aware. Unaware has the biggest market and the widest market and the biggest opportunity to make money, but it's generally the most hardest, or the most challenging rather, because of how we really want to speak to people that already have a problem that they want solved or a desire they want. So the unaware market, you basically have to educate them on the problem or desire, and it just becomes really challenging, especially if you're just trying to validate a product in the first place. So when it comes to product validation, make sure you say in the problem solution aware. Now, I like to do deep research and have the deep research prompting go through Reddit forums, Facebook groups, Google forums, YouTube comments. Basically, what that prompt that I just put in is going to scour the entire internet to gather as much information, even from peer-reviewed articles, if it's a health product or some type of supplement in some cases, peer-reviewed articles, blog posts, Reddit forums, Quora forums, Facebook groups. Search as much information as possible for the people that have a particular problem that I'm referring to. And in the problem analysis portion of that prompt, I basically said, hey, go find people that are struggling with enamel decay and receding gums. And these are adults between the ages of 30 to 55. So we'll see in a moment what information came back for me. So that's basically who I'm going after. Adults, primarily women, but adults in general, ages 30 to 55, that are struggling with enamel decay and receding gums, right? And we can tell because this is literally what it talks about here on the product. And I also could go through Amazon and find the exact product, go through some of the reviews and the product details about what it does, and understand who this product is generally going after. So make sure you are within problem solution aware. If you do deep research and you find that you're in unaware or product aware or whatever awareness level outside of problem solution aware, I recommend you just pivot to either problem or solution aware, because it's important that when you're just testing and starting to validate a product, do not create more problems for yourself. Do not make it harder, because you're generally going to need a more complex funnel and more complex marketing to convert someone that's unaware or product or most aware. All right, so let's go through this together. So comprehension market research analysis, adults 30 to 55 with enamel decay and receding gums. So deep consumer research synthesis. I hide my smile in every photo. So first off, we need to understand what are some of the common characteristics of these people. What are some actions that if we were to address them in our long form copy, they would resonate with because it's something that they do or they feel. So recurring pain themes, right? Consumer language. I hide my smile in every photo, consistently covers mouth when laughing, does the Mona Lisa smile, lips closed, no teeth showing, right? So I have no idea what the Mona Lisa smile is. I mean, I do know because I can probably infer and guess what it is, but I'm saying from the standpoint of I don't have this problem or pain, so this type of language or lingo doesn't resonate with me. But guess what? Who it does resonate with? The people that have this problem. And this type of messaging is going to be important. We're going to pull this from our deep research and at some point potentially putting our long form copy, because this actually resonates with the people that struggle with this. So they avoid being in photos entirely. I'm not going to go through every single detail and scour every single moment, but I do want to just kind of cover some of the highlights for you. So another thing, every cold drink is a bravery test. So I'm assuming they have, sensitive teeth because their enamel is decaying after all. I'm too embarrassed to go to the dentist. Yep. So they avoided the dentist for 10 plus years. My teeth are killing my dating life. The black triangles between my teeth are getting worse. I can't afford to fix this. That's going to be a big one. I fight back laughter because I can't show my teeth, right? So not only are we going to understand some of the characteristics, we're going to also understand the language, right? Common phrases and emotional expressions. We're going to write long form copy from the point of view of someone that is going through this problem. So to do that, we had to curate a ton of information from Facebook comments, Facebook groups, YouTube comments, Reddit forums, Quora forums, and these are the exact pieces of information pulled from those forums. Dark secret, petrified to my very core, deeply ashamed. This is the emotion. This is the language. Needles through my teeth, shockwaves through my body, sharp shooting pain, face on fire, right? So this is some really, really good information. So now let's actually get into the awareness levels. So the first awareness level is unaware. So only 8% of the market is unaware, right? So most people, a pain and a problem like, sharp, sensitive teeth or whatever the case may be, that's going to be something that most people are going to be aware of, right? So 8% of the market is unaware, right? So we wouldn't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Only 8% of the audience is unaware. The next massive dominant awareness level is problem aware. Perfect. We're within problem or solution aware. This is amazing. I like testing in problem aware even more so than solution aware because I can introduce the product that will solve their problem. It's way easier to convert that person versus someone that is solution aware, knows that they have different options than other products out there potentially, or there's a potential solution out there. They may be weighing more options. And it's not to deter you from testing solutionware. You can scale like crazy in solutionware. But just if I were to rank the ones that I've been able to find more success with, I generally scale a lot faster and easier in problemware. And it makes sense because if you're the first one to introduce the solution to a problem to someone, in most cases, they're just going to go with that, right? They're not going to do their due diligence and see all their potential solutions out there because they want the problem solved now. So I love when my dominant awareness level is problem aware. But again, I say that to say that does not mean you can't scale in solutionware. If your dominant awareness level is in solutionware, create your copy in a solutionware first, test and scale with that, right? Like don't be like too detail oriented between the two because they're both great. They both have their pros and cons. All right, so problem aware, amazing. They're consciously avoiding cold and hot foods. Use straws, right? So that's a good note to make. They lick instead of biting ice cream. So these details, and I really love doing research and marketing. These details to the average person that doesn't struggle with this may just seem like nothing. All right, cool. But to the person struggling with this, once you implement this into your copy, this can be the difference between someone, between you getting out of the testing phase and being able to scale versus being stuck, still dealing with high CPM, still dealing with, your long form copy not converting because you're not using these small details. And these are the details that get overlooked and it's hard to quantify them. That's why you have to do your best to really make sure you go through your deep research prompts, really understand your target audience, get in the mind of your target audience, know what triggers them so you can use that in your long form copy. This is good. Noticing gum recession. Right. And when we create copy, most people are just going to go after the standard stuff, right? They're going to create basic copy, whether it's long form copy or even video ads that are just simple and basic and surface level. Hey, you ever seen gums? Hey, you have a enamel decay? Get this product. It helps, resolve the enamel decay. But what really gets people, what really can allow you to cut through the noise of competition and scale in these really, red ocean niches that are super competitive is when you can really, really identify the features and functionalities and the pain that your target audience is going through and the pain indicators. What are things that leads to that pain and how can we speak to them and help them solve that? So that's good. All right. So solution aware would be the next one. And let's say you were run a native image ad CBO testing campaign for a couple of days and you find that problem aware is still, you're dealing with high CPMs. You're still struggling to convert in problem aware. It might be just problem aware is just really, really competitive. So what I would do is I wouldn't be afraid to just test solution aware in a new CBO, maybe the same images, but new long form copy that speaks to people in solution aware and give that a go before just cutting the product and moving on. Because sometimes the difference between the solution aware, problem aware, or just the awareness level in general can be the difference between you actually getting some profitability. So solution aware would be next. Product aware, most aware. I don't really spend too much time. You're not gonna hear me talk too much about product aware and most aware because most of us are launching brand new dropshipping products and dropshipping brands. So we would never ever really be in product aware or anything like that. So you can just move on away from that. So perfect. And by the way, my deep research prompts are designed specifically for the Facebook feed. So I wrote them in a way that talks to the AI to prioritize this for Facebook long form copy. So you'll see it spit back information like this. Why they dominate Facebook feed. Dominant awareness level diagnosis for Facebook, right? So we'll say problem aware is 62%. Passive composition mode, scrolling to distract from discomfort. Story receptive state, more likely to engage with narrative content than search for clinical solutions. Boom. That's directly from the deep research, right? Deep research is basically saying, hey, your target audience within problem aware is going to be more likely to engage with narrative content, so storytelling, than search for clinical solutions, right? And and you might be wondering, why would they do that? Well, remember above, one of the problems is that they can't afford to fix the pain. So they probably won't even bother looking for solutions like a clinical office because it's just too expensive for them, right? 1 in 3 Americans avoid dentists due to cost. So these are the details, man, that really pull this all together. It makes it so fun to go through and really read up on this stuff. So there's so much more information. I like to get a routine and situation discovery, like what are some daily things that they do so I can write copy that aligns with the actual habits, their daily routine and schedule. Like this is like just one of the 4 marketing prompts that we use for deep research. It's just disgusting. And then we'll do your end of analysis. So now let's get into the next deep research prompt. So I'm going to quickly go through these next deep research prompts just so you can understand, and we can finally get into the copywriting, which I know is the main reason why you clicked on this video. So this next one is my pain pinpoint mapping research prompt. I need to not only understand the pain, but I need to go through and review it in a deeper sense, where I could really start to break down, like, okay, based off of this awareness level, so I'll tell this specific prompt, here's my dominant awareness level that I got up from a different prompt. Now take my target audience and the general pain point and issues that they're going through, take this awareness level, and now let's start to actually pain point map and see where things are going wrong here. So after analyzing patterns across Reddit, so they went to dentistry, dental hygiene, Facebook, support groups, YouTube dental video comments, core dental questions, health forum discussions. Here are the dominant emotional pain patterns. So we're looking for patterns. So a lot of people, what they don't understand is that no matter the niche or product that you're selling, there's certain fundamental problems that people will have forever, right? People will always be fat. People will always not like their smile or not like their skin or feel like they're out of shape or feel like they could do X, Y, Z. So we need to figure out, what are the strong patterns? What are the things that show up every single day in someone's life? This also, we can pause real quick and time out. This is why it's also important to make sure you have a product that solves a problem deep enough that has daily urgency, right? I've seen people try to dropship products and use native image ads to scale them up, but these are products that are solving a deep enough problem. Not to say that those products couldn't scale with maybe video ads or something like that, but for native image ads, you want to sell deep problem-solving products that have a certain level of, either you are selling something that has a desire attached to it or a deep problem that individual suffers with every single day. So let's go through the raw pain themes, unfiltered. My teeth make me look older than I am. And then consumer language, I'm only 38, but my teeth make me look 50. And this is what most dropshippers will not do. Most surface level dropshippers will go at the surface level problem and pain. And the way you defeat competition, the way you stand out, the way you scale easy is going beneath the surface. Okay, my enamel is decaying. My gums are receding. I don't like my smile. That's surface level. How do we go even deeper? Well, on Reddit and other forums, it says that not only do I not like my smile because I look ugly, but it's also making me look older specifically, right? I'm 38, my teeth look 50, or my teeth make me look 50. My gums are disappearing and now my teeth look like horse-like. The yellow near my gum lines ages me by 10 years. So this is really important. We're hearing that not only is it not attractive, but it's making me look older. That is way different, and that juxtaposition and that specific detail in copy can be the difference. I'm telling you guys. And the AI will do a good job of backing this up for you. So this pain attacks identity and self-image at a vulnerable life stage. These people are watching their body betray their mental age. The visible decline in their smile becomes daily evidence they're aging badly. Unlike wrinkles, they can hide with makeup. Teeth are exposed every time they speak or smile. Just let that sink in, man. Let that sink in for a second. That is powerful. So now let's go to pain 2. I'm doing everything right, but I'm still losing, right? So speaking to the people that are trying to remedy this problem, right? I brush twice a day, floss. My dentist keeps saying, just brush better. I've tried every toothpaste. My sister never flosses her teeth and they look perfect. So jealousy. It feels like no matter what I do, my gums keep receding. So this will go on and on, and will address certain pain themes that we can elaborate on and test and test and test. So there's also moments that fuel certain pain, what they're trying to do, what goes wrong, and immediate emotional reaction. All right, so this is going to be really good for copy. And let's move on to the next prompt. So this next one, what we're going to do is we're either going to take the Amazon listing or our website, or just manually provide all the information about a product. And we're going to go through and let the deep research prompt help us analyze the actual product, make sure and ensures that it actually solves a problem for the customer and that there's proper product market fit. And then on top of that, it's going to extract all the mechanisms and tie that into emotional pain point solutions that will help us build or bridge the gap rather in our long form copy. So this is important, right? Because we now know the pain, the awareness level, and who we're speaking to, but it's also very important that we find out how our product can best bridge that gap, right? So we need to get the person from point A to point B, but we need to do that in a storytelling and emotional driven with copy, right? We don't want to just say, hey, well, it has this feature, this feature, this feature, and this feature. That's why you should get it. We want to tell that story and allow them to fully understand that. So we had it do its deep research. We gave it a name, told it about the product and everything. And now it's starting to identify how it speaks to the target audience: women and men, ages 40 to 65, health conscious, proactive about aging, research oriented, willing to pay premium for preventative solutions. So now it's going through the mechanisms. Most toothpastes only address enamel, cleaning, whitening, and remineralizing. This addresses the gum tissue matrix that's 60 to 80% collagen. So it uses collagen. And by the way, that is also the unique selling proposition, that this powder not only helps whiten and build back enamel, but it targets your gum line and helps rebuild the gum line with collagen. So that will be the unique selling proposition. This is how we stand out against other competitors or similar products like different toothpastes, different toothbrushes, different other types of teeth whitening products. This is how we stand out, is that our USP in this particular product is collagen. So that's pretty cool here. It will do all the fun stuff. It'll give us some competing solution landscapes, right? So sensitive toothpaste, regular fluoride, aggressive brushing, ignoring the problem. So other, solutions or potential solutions or things that people are trying out in the market space. Again, bringing up the awareness level and the skepticism of it all, the mechanism versus market beliefs. How does your audience think about this, right? How does your potential customers think about this industry as a whole if they are thinking about it, right? Because remember, we're in problem aware. So not everyone is fully aware of solutions out there in the market. So this is just going to only speak to the people that may understand a little bit about the market or the problem in general. So that is some pretty cool stuff. And we'll get more research about the market, the primary market, the secondary market, and all that fun jazz. And lastly, the breaking limiting beliefs prompt. So this is good depending on the awareness level that you're at. This will help you understand some other potential solutions people may have tried. And obviously, this is most applicable to people in solutionware. Even if you're in problemware, it's still good to have this in there, because as people go through and learn about the problem that they're having, even in the problemware phase, other solutions out there for certain products and niches may become an option for them. So we do want to make sure that there are people that are in problemware but pivoting to solutionware as they start to learn more about their problem. So we do want to address some potential limiting beliefs we may need to break when we do start to create copy for our long form, but also on our website as well. So this will be good for that. Just all the different other potential solutions out there or potential questions they may even have about your product. So that is also good to have as well. Now let's finally get into what a piece of long form copy would look like for this particular product with the deep research prompts that I've used. And then from there, the first thing I would do to start creating my long form copy is obviously start off with a really good hook. So I like to use a variety of different hooks. My favorite one that has consistently worked really well for me is the Contrarian open loop, which basically is just a loop a hook rather, that keeps the person hooked in and engaged and leaves an open loop, which makes them want to close that loop by learning more about what's going on in the story. So I'll go through one of these one by one and read whichever one I think is the best. So for the sake of this video, we'll go with the first one actually. My hygienist finally explained why 3 years of Sensodyne never stopped my gum line from receding after I turned 40, and it has nothing to do with sensitivity. So now that we have a really good hook, we now have to build out the rest of the story, and we only need one prompt to do that. All right, so now let's read this together and let's ensure that we have all the components of winning copy to make this work. So obviously the hook is really good, right? So my hygienist finally explained why 3 years of Sensodyne never stopped my gum line from receding after I turned 40. It has nothing to do with sensitivity. Strong hook, boom, there we go. We have an open loop, meaning this person basically saying, hey, I figured out why this particular product never stopped my gum line from receding and has nothing to do with sensitivity. Now, I will say this hook somewhat gives me a little bit of a solution aware hook, where the standpoint of, how would you know that Sensodyne was an option for your sensitivity? But I do believe that it's still good enough to be in the problem aware market, largely because when we talk about this big of a problem, which is receding gums and sensitive teeth, that's pretty hard to be completely unaware. That's why we saw the unaware market was 8%, right? So it's very hard for people, especially people 30 and 40 years old, should just be absolutely clueless to all potential solutions out there in the market, right? So this to me still is problem aware, because they're aware of the surface level issue, which is that they have sensitive teeth or gums or whatever, but they don't know the deep issue, and also they don't know a completely life-changing solution, which could be rebuilding that back up naturally with collagen, which is what our product does. So I think that's good to go. So next up is I'm sitting in the chair last April, and she's doing that thing where they measure the pockets around each tooth. You know, the one where they call it numbers and you're sitting there hoping the good numbers even though you have no idea what they mean. Yeah, I know exactly what that means as someone that used to have braces. As she pauses, looks at my chart, then looks at me with the expression that's trying really hard to be neutral. Are you still using the Sensodyne I recommended? I told her yes, every morning, every night for 3 years. The promail kind, the one that's supposed to help rebuild enamel. I'd been religious about it because she told me my gums are starting to recede and I needed to get ahead of it. She nodded slowly. I can tell you're taking care of your teeth. Your cleaning routine is great, but the recession is still progressing. So the person that is writing the story and speaking, right? Think about this on a Facebook feed post, is sharing their story and actually walking you through their experience that they had with their dentist, right? So this is the conversation that they're having. Again, we're doing storytelling here, and the whole goal is to get the person that is experiencing this pain to live the same emotion that we're going through and telling this story. That word, so she nodded slowly. I can tell you're taking care of your teeth. Your cleaning routine is great, but the recession is still progressing. That word, progressing, like it was a disease moving toward my body and I could not stop. So keep in mind, the next thing we're looking for is authority anchoring, which is already kind of slightly dropped into this, right? So it is authority, an authority is in this story so far, but it's not the anchoring we need, right? The person, the doctor, the dentist here isn't saying, hey, this is the problem that you need to solve yet, right? So although there's an authority in this conversation, it's not quite the authority anchoring we want to see. So let's just keep reading to see next steps. And following that up is hair replacing as well. So I asked her, what am I doing wrong? Because that's where my brain went immediately. I must be brushing too hard still, or not flossing correctly, or maybe I need to see a periodontist. And this was her nice way of telling me I was beyond regular hygiene help. She sat down on that little rolling stool and said something I wasn't expecting. You're not doing anything wrong. Sensitivity toothpaste helps with pain, but it doesn't address why your gums are receding in the first place. All right, so now this is why we're going into the story. After 40, your body doesn't produce certain things the way they used to, which is all true, by the way. Your gums are made of collagen, which is also true. And when that production slows down, the tissue starts to break down faster than it rebuilds. No amount of gentle brushing or fluoride is going to change that. So this is where problem aware becomes important, right? So we're in the problem aware market. Most problem aware people are aware that they have a problem and may have even tried a surface level solution when you talk about this broad of a niche, but they still don't know the root solution to that problem. And that's where solution aware would be speaking to people that already knew this. That's the distinguishment between problem and solution aware. All right. So no amount of gentle brushing or fluoride is going to change that. So now we have, authority anchoring is officially checked now because they're saying what the problem is and why the current thing that they're doing isn't solving that problem. I just stared at her. 3 years. 3 years of buying that expensive toothpaste, of being so careful with my brushing technique, of doing everything I thought I was supposed to do, and it never was going to work because I was treating the symptom and not the actual problem. She said most people don't realize that gum recession isn't really about bacteria or brushing wrong. It's about the structural integrity of the tissue itself. And once you hit your 40s, especially if you had kids and gone through any hormonal changes, right? So let's pause here. Very important. Who are we speaking to, right? Now, in my awareness level prompting, I'm also looking for specific angles. I focus a lot on angle testing initially. So rather than just talking about a desire or general pain point, I want to speak to a certain type of person. So guess who I'm speaking to? My first awareness or my first angle that I got from the deep research prompt was the people concerned about how their teeth were aging them, and they're women specifically, women with kids. So this is an important characteristic of my target audience, right? It's saying once you hit your 40s, especially if you had kids or gone through hormonal changes, that tissue starts to losing and it's building blocks. I asked her, what was I supposed to do then? If Sensodyne wasn't the answer, then what was? She told me there was some new products that actually deliver collagen and minerals directly to the gum line instead of just coating your teeth with fluoride. All right, guess where we're going into now? Hair replacing, right? So this is how you subtly introduce the product. You don't just start off by saying, yeah, so there's this product here from this brand called alexrobinson.com. You go to the website, you go to add to cart, and then you can hit checkout. You can actually click the link on the same ad right now to get straight to the website, right? That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is slightly and slowly introduce it. So she told me there were some new products that actually deliver collagen and minerals directly to the gum line instead of just coating your teeth with fluoride. She said she's been seeing better results with patients who use them, but they weren't widely known yet because they're not made by the big toothpaste companies. So there's a couple things that just happened in this sentence here. One, we introduced the product, which is good, or started to introduce the product. We then also acknowledge something that's important, right? They're not made by the bigger toothpaste companies. Depending on who you are and the product that you're testing, this will be more or less important. But naturally speaking, for those of you in really competitive products in competitive niches, this type of messaging is going to be important because most people, the default thing to do in these super competitive niches is just to go to the bigger, well-known companies to see if they have that. But for you to compete as a dropshipper, you have to acknowledge that, hey, I have to position myself in a way that makes me unique and different and makes this product harder to get. Which these are all things that are true. I don't know of any bigger companies that have collagen powder like that. So that's why the product that you pick is also very important. I left the appointment feeling like someone had just told me I've been reading the map upside down for years. That night I went down a rabbit hole. So you notice how she introduced what the thing was, but she never said more about it, right? The story doesn't elaborate too much more about it. And my camera is going to die here in a moment, so we might go cameraless in just a few minutes here. But she doesn't go on to elaborate more about the features, the benefits. No, she just introduces a slight introduction. And now we're letting the storyteller go ahead and do more research so it doesn't feel like it was shoved down their throat. So the night I went down a rabbit hole, started reading about collagen gum tissue, about enamel, how enamel is made of something called hydroxyapatite, right? These are all things that are true, which is basically the same mineral as bone, and how it can regenerate if it doesn't have it can't regenerate if it doesn't have the raw materials to work with. And about how most toothpaste is designed to clean and protect, but not to actually feed the tissue. It made sense in this obvious way that felt embarrassing. Now, something else that's also happening is we're actually setting up for a logical conclusion, right? So we're giving information that's factual and that is true to make this a logical decision. Why would it not make sense that a product like this would help you if it's designed to solve the root problem? Which is basically the same mineral as bone and how it can regenerate if it doesn't have the raw materials to work. About how most toothpaste is designed to clean and protect, but not to actually feed the tissue. It made sense in the obvious way that felt embarrassing. Like, of course, your gums need collagen. Again, we're trying to displace and make this logical. Like, duh, who wouldn't know that, right? Make the reader feel like they're being let in on a secret, but also it's a logical conclusion that they can come up with themselves. Right? So your teeth are actually, and your gums are actually made of it. So, and of course your enamel needs minerals, but nobody talks about it that way. Every ad, every dentist visit, every article is about brushing technique and fluoride and avoiding sugar. No one tells you that your body might just be running low on actual ingredients. So back to my point, right? We want to create copy that lets people in on a secret. So I found this product called Collar Brush. It's a powder which I thought was weird at first because I'm used to paste. But the whole point is that concentrated collagen peptides and nanohydroxyapatite is dry. It's a dry form, so you're getting it directly on your gum line without a bunch of fillers. And so some other good things, right? We're making this a healthy, health-conscious product. You just dip your damp toothbrush in it and brush for 30 seconds, focusing on where your gums meet your teeth. That's it. I wasn't expecting much, honestly. I tried so many things at this point, but I figured if my hygienist was right, and this was actually about feeding my tissue or feeding the tissue instead of just cleaning it, maybe it was worth trying. So you see how it feels suggestive? We're not like saying, yeah, in that same night, I went to the website, went on the website, found it and bought it. The storyteller is actually just walking you through the logical thought process here. Well, I figured, it only makes sense. Teeth, our enamel need minerals, and our gum line is made out of collagen. It only makes sense that a product like this solves this issue, right? So it's just walking you through the thought process so it all lines up. So now this is important. So we've done a strong hook, authority anchoring, hero placing, and now we've kind of tapped in a little bit on the USP a little bit, which is the collagen. And we talked about how other products and solutions out there are just about sensitivity and surface level brushing, but this actually builds back the enamel. So we actually have already kind of done the USP, and we also kind of did the logical conclusion. So we do want to objection handle a little bit and have a soft CTA, and then we're pretty much ready to go with all the major components. So the first thing I noticed maybe 2 weeks in was that gums look less thin. I don't know how else to describe it. They've been looking kind of translucent, fragile, and they started looking a little fuller. Not dramatically, but enough that I noticed when I was flossing. So we never want to oversell the product and make it seem like this massive transformation overnight. We want to keep this as realistic and honest as possible. So guess what? When we linked the Amazon listing of our product or described what our product was, the AI was able to do deep research and find out the product and what the reviews are being said about this product in real time. So we can pull realistic reviews and realistic research and data about our product to make sure that whatever we say is actually believable and real, and not just this, hey, overnight all my teeth came back and they were super strong and my enamel just overnight was better. We never want to lie and make this like crazier than it has to be. We want this to feel like a true, genuine story. So they even say, not dramatically, but enough that I noticed when I was flossing. By week 6, the sensitivity I've been living with for 4 years was just gone, not managed, gone. I could drink cold water without sharp zing. I could bite into an apple without planning for it. But the thing that really got me was around 3 months in. I was looking at photos from my niece's wedding. This is important. And I didn't look older than everyone else anymore, which is the main problem that this specific angle is struggling with. Remember, I like to create about 3 to 5 angles that I like to test in one CBO. This is that specific angle, copy for this specific angle, which is the feeling of feeling older because your teeth don't look as nice. My teeth were making me look like someone's mom when I was only 43, which this would be something I would change because my teeth weren't making me look like someone's mom when I'm only 43. What does that mean? My teeth weren't making me look like someone's mom when I'm only 43. Oh, I see what they're saying. Yeah, see, I would change that because even if you're 32 and it's all right to be, you can still look like someone's mom. Being, looking like someone's mom when you're in your 30s and 40s isn't a bad thing. So this might be something I tweak a little bit, but other than that, that's good. The yellow that had been creeping up from my gum line was lighter. The recession hadn't reversed or anything dramatic like that, but it stopped getting worse. Again, we don't want to make this seem like this magical miracle thing that's going to happen overnight. So we do want to throw that in there, and the copy and the prompting will do this all for you. The yellow had been creeping up on my gum line was lighter. The recession hadn't reversed or anything dramatic like that, but it had stopped getting worse, which is good, and that's compliant, and you won't get in trouble from Facebook for making false claims or lying, right? So healthier, younger, like they've matched my face again. So notice how we didn't just spend a ton of time talking about the functionalities of the product. We're still just doing all this storytelling. At no point did she say, yeah, and there's 2.5 grams of collagen in there, and that allows me to do X. No, it's all emotional copy, all emotional. We're not even spending much time talking about the product as a function or feature, but the way it changed this person's life. So that's how you introduce your product and really hero place it. My husband didn't say anything directly, but I caught him looking at me differently when I smiled, and my hygienist at my next appointment 6 months later actually seemed surprised. She measured my pockets again and said, whatever I was doing, keep doing it. I'm not going to pretend this is some miracle cure. So I wrote in the copy to specifically write in my deep research prompting to specifically write that this isn't some type of crazy solution. Like in all my prompts, no matter what product I'm testing, it automatically does this. Because again, when it comes to these health products and stuff, you want to be careful with Facebook. And you also want this to be believable. The moment you start making these crazy exaggerated claims, that's when people will, 1, sniff out that this is an ad. And then 2, it just doesn't become a believable story. And also 3, if we want to go to the ethical route of this all, it now becomes a problem with ethics and stuff. So I'm not going to pretend like this is a miracle cure. My gums didn't grow back to where they were at 25, but they stopped receding. The tissue looks healthier. My teeth don't hurt anymore, and I don't feel like I'm watching myself age and fast forward every time I look in the mirror. So this is also more believable, and people are more likely to actually want to buy this product because you aren't making these crazy claims. It's just enough for them to feel and understand that there's a difference, but not anything where they feel like overnight their entire lives is going to change. Thing nobody tells you about gum recessions that it's not just about your teeth. So this is the logical conclusion, guys. At this point in the story, we need to just recap the position of our product and process as the only logical conclusion. So the thing that nobody tells you about gum recession is that it's not about your teeth. It's about looking in the mirror and seeing someone older than you feel. Seeing someone older than you feel. It's about smiling your photos and immediately checking to make sure your teeth don't look too long or too yellow. It's about this constant low anxiety that you're losing yourself. You can't get back. And maybe I am. Maybe the damage that's already done is permanent, but at least now I'm not making it worse. And at least now I'm giving my gums what they actually need instead of just hoping sensitivity toothpaste will somehow fix a structural problem, right? Think about that. That's a small sentence, but it's the logic that we're leaning on. I think about all the time I wasted Sensodyne, all the appointments where I felt like I was failing some tests I didn't know how to study for, and I wish someone had just explained to me the way my hygienist finally did. Your gums are made of collagen, your enamel is made of minerals. If your body isn't producing enough of these things anymore, you have to give it to them directly, right? Logical conclusion. Boom. Now, last but not least, we just need a soft CTA. It's not complicated, but nobody talks about it because the big toothpaste brands make their money on fluoride and whitening, not on actual tissue health. I don't know if this would work for everyone, but if you're in your 40s or 50s and your gums are receding and nothing you've tried has worked, it might be worth looking into what your gums are actually made of, because treating sensitivity doesn't fix structure, and structure is what makes the difference between looking your age, looking 10 years older than you feel. Boom. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Run that in that account, and that should do some numbers for you. So pair this up with a couple different, 3 to 6 really good native images, and you got something here. And here's actually evidence of this. So the person that I actually found for this product, and I've seen this product floating around for the last year or so for different advertisers, but this person here is actually running native image ads to this exact product and store. And you can see the very, very, very long copy. If we hit shop now, goes to their product page. So they're running natives straight to a product page. You can also test this with an avatorial. So they have the avatorial here, which is cool. So, we do all this deep research, we do all this testing, but I mean, the strategies work. They're tried and true. This person has been scaling ads. They have 210 active ads, and they're leveraging natives as a big portion of their marketing strategy, right? And they're running these simple natives with long form copy straight to an avatorial or to a product page. And clearly it's doing really well for them because they've been running these ads for over a month now, which is pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did and want some more help learning how to scale your dropshipping brand, go into the link in the description and join my online community, Social Brands Club. I help over 300 plus dropshippers start, launch, and scale their dropshipping brand with native image ads. And also, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Take care.